I'm not trying to say that this jet blower from Cow RC has been a lifesaver, but I'll tell you right now, dude, I am constantly grabbing for this thing. So this truck was washed down and I used this little blower thing here. And granted, yes, it is corded. It's got a filter on the bottom, this jet nozzle. I mean, it is made working on RCs just that much better. So I'm gonna just quickly blow this thing off and yeah. Oh my god, I left the battery in and plugged in. What else is new, dude? I'm gonna take it over to the garden hose right now and just quickly give it a spray off because we do have some dirt impacted in some areas, and then I'll use the jet blower to blow it dry, and I'm gonna see if I can. Oh my god, dude, look at that. That's not Loctite, that's stinking super glue. They put so much glue onto that center brace. I mean, you can see it glistening. That's terrible, dude. So that center brace, there was no intention of that ever coming off. I swear to god, that's super glue. I'm gonna take a that's so dumb. Anyways, I'm gonna just wash it off real quick and I'll be right back. The other thing that I'll typically do is I'll take my heat gun and heat gun the RC. That way it helps dry up what the blower kind of can't get to, so gets kind of like in the nooks and crannies and just kind of dries things up, dries the tires up. And now I'm going to grab the wipes, wipe down the tires, and I'm going to check the condition of the tires because it looks like we are going to need glue. So I'm gonna clean all that out and check the rears here. Not surprised on the front, with the front ballooning like it does, which is a good thing. But I just wanted to check the condition overall and then add some glue if it was necessary. So, be right back. So I'm just gonna pop these off, give it a little bit of a wipe. This one was loose, the wheel nut. And again, that's kind of expected. The other thing I've done, I should have my cow mat out here. At least that would help with metal parts. But what was I saying? Oh yeah. So just take one of these wipes and kind of just wipe down the rim a little bit. The other thing I'm going to do is I am going to vent these tires. So I'm going to clean on the inside so I can go ahead and put my tape in there. So you can see we've got a vent right there that has water in it. See the water? So the tire does already have water in it. So, and it looks as though there's only one vent, which is fine. So I'll vent these tires, put 2 holes, and then check the condition of the sidewalls, make sure the glue is holding on. And like I said, I do already see just a little bit of release on the outside. So it's just a little bit so far, but peel it back and kind of just get in there and wipe it down. you don't need to see me wiping this thing down. So just little tiny things noticed. This wheel I had taken off because I fitted something on here. You'll see that in a later video. And when I put this back together, I must have snugged the hex a little bit better than maybe what they had factory, because this does a lot of slop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that spindle out, release the screw, and kind of shove the hex back a little bit further so that it's contacting the bearing, so I don't have this much slop. And looking at the back seems fine. Yeah, the back is fine. So isn't that funny? This one right here. But looking over this thing, we've got captured hinge pins on the bottom, captured nuts or captured bolts that are going through, even on the steering. Like, it looks like they really put some thought. Still pisses me off about that center brace. Clean up the tires real good. Am getting a little bit of release. You can see right there. That's typical. So I'm going to get in there with a little brush and brush that out. But overall, even with the way this thing is tuned, I want to get in there and see what's going on. I do kind of want to take the center diff out just to look at it. I feel as though the amount of tightening, because you call it tightening, you know what I mean? You're just kind of limiting the spin of those gears inside. I think I want to leave it alone because the amount of tightening I'm finding on 4S, this thing is a stinking rocket ship. If I was to tighten up that center diff, I feel as what I would do is I would lose that sense of the truck being planted like it is right now. I can hear my battery. Battery's already charged. It's safe, guy, it's safe. But I feel I would lose that contact that this thing is getting. So this thing likes to keep basically all four wheels on the ground to an extent, with flipping that throttle and then putting the app on a punch level of 8. This thing is absolutely incredible. I am noticing for some reason my fans don't seem to be spinning, so I need to see if something happened there. When I put the blower to it, the ESC fan spun, but these ones didn't. So I want to see what's going on here, if maybe something... No? The spin. Oh, that one must have a boulder in there. So I'm going to go ahead and take these fans off and just see what's going on underneath. So I didn't really see anything. Ah, that'll do it. Little stick or something stuck in there. That's it. Dang. Alright. So for a couple of seconds I was winning. I dug out a ton of glue. It does have the appearance of Loctite. There's so much damn Loctite in there. I was able to free it up. I used some blaster. I probably should have used heat. Using my 3.0 Hobao driver, I was able to free it up. It got free, and then it got to a point to where the hardware just stripped. So, garbage, man. Starting to notice from some of the collisions, while the light system is still working, the body is starting to cut through the wire. So this wire should probably be rerouted to going underneath or on the side or something like that. Something just a little bit different, because the way they got the wire right now, yeah, that's a little bit better. But the way they got the wire right now, the body itself is going to cut through the wire. So you can see there's a bunch of chafing going on. So I might be able to flip it over to the side here, run it along the side, maybe put like an extra zip tie there just to kind of keep it away from getting cut. So I pulled off the gear cover. A ton of grit is getting in there. Granted, the gears are moving it away, but the amount of grit that's in there is bad. So because it's got space, it has spaces where stuff is kind of getting into there, so gonna have to somehow figure out how to get that grit out of there. But there's a look at your gearing. Gearing's pretty substantial. We are talking metal gears, but I'm gonna have to take off this whole entire top to get a real good look, and that's taking off. It becomes kind of like a miserable thing working on these, especially seeing when they use super glue, because the amount of stuff that you've got to take off and disconnect, that's where it becomes a hassle. To where, is that the route that you want to go, dude? And if you do, you probably should film the entire process and have like a egg crate or whatever, some kind of divider to keep all your screws divided. And that's nice with the cow RC thing, magnetic. It's got like the little square block out things with the foam and everything, and you can kind of place screws as you go. But one of the big things would be filming how you do stuff, and kind of make a point to like show yourself what screws are what. Obviously this is easy because I know the shorter screw was for that right there, and the two longer screws were for the end, but there is definitely some grit getting inside of this area here. So damn, dude, I'm gonna have to take all that apart just to see what's going on. No wonder why the stuff is getting in there. It's got windows. That's stupid, dude. Are you serious? It's got stinking windows that allow, I mean, it kind of blocks it off, but because of the metal blocks it off. But that's messed up, dude. What? Are you kidding me? It does get blocked off, but yeah, nah. It kind of looks like it gets blocked off, but there's still a huge amount of debris kind of getting in there. When I saw that sight window, I was like, you got what? So I'm going to end up changing the suspension. I figured I'd take the opportunity to pull this block off. And I was wondering how difficult it was going to be to locate the holes. If you look on the back side, you can see where the holes need to be drilled. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a drill bit or something. You know what? I wonder if my body reamer can do that. Maybe I'll grab my body reamer. But anyways, get a drill bit, and you can drill out those holes, and then you'll be able to relocate your suspension. So like I said, I'm going to put it to the inboard hole, which means I will have to drill out. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so things can swivel and move out of the way, kind of, sort of. Rear sway bar can swivel and move out of the way. Same thing with the front, except for the fact that you got to take off the front bumper to do that. So no, it doesn't. So you're taking out those little collars right there. This is coming out as a unit only because the super glue that they used, I mean, it's got to be super glue, dude. I was able to dig out the back. I didn't even waste my time with the front. But I tried to take it apart in a way where all of these screws are not going to get lost, because there is a ton of screws to get to this. But we're pretty much there. I got to take off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws to go ahead and get to this front differential. The rear differential is ready to be uncovered, so let's just go ahead and pop this off right now and see what we're looking at here. Hopefully we're not going to get too much dirt and grit in there. Okay, so there's our center diff. Rear differential does have grease on it. I'm going to go ahead and squeeze a little bit more. We're looking at metal gears. So we've got a metal input, people call it, it's a ring gear, dude. So we've got a metal ring gear and a metal pinion. You can definitely see the dirt is getting in there. We do have a metal gear here, metal gear there. Yeah. Dude, it almost seems like the whole damn thing's metal, is it? So to get to that damn center diff, be popping out that module, it's almost like it's a Arrma style module, but there's so much more that you've got to like loosen and get out of the way. It's not a small job when you want to go ahead and doing this. And that's where companies like Traxxas and Arrma will always have an over on companies like this, because with the way the design is, you're taking off a ton of stuff just to get somewhere. I ain't tuning nothing, dude. I'm gonna squeeze some grease onto that diff. I'll pop off the front just so we can get a look at it, but I don't know, dude. I mean, that's pretty chunky. That looks like and even the sound, dude. It's got a nice sound to it, the gears. So, yeah, but a lot of debris intrusion getting in there. This company is using a real flexible, like RPM-ish plastic, which is great. But the chassis, though, there's some oddity to that. So I went through underneath on the chassis and I was tightening up screws just to check, like skid plate and all that stuff. What it bolts into is it bolts into the chassis. So because they used such a flexible style plastic, I'm sure you can figure out where I'm trying to get to. Because the plastic is ultra flexible, so are the threads that the screws go into. So everything was loose, feeling kind of almost semi-stripped maybe. And there's your negative. Like I've always said before, man, you've got your negatives and positives. So the positive is it's got flexibility to it, so it's got a lot of give, but so do the threads. Not on the screws, but the threads that are into the giveaway plastic on the chassis. So I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze some udder butter in there. Again, like I said, yeah, a lot of debris. The dirt's not staying on the gears, so it is kind of doing its job, but yeah, that is a lot of debris that is inside this case, dude. Look at all that fine gravel. So what a pain in the neck this is gonna be to clean. Now granted, we're not talking like 1,000-degree day, but I just wanted to show you what I mean by flexible plastics. So this thing is in the sun, right? Look at how flexible this chassis is. Like all I'm doing is moving the bumper, dude. I'm just going up and down. Look how much the motor moves. Independent from the ESC, dude. Look at the diff. So there's a lot of flexibility that's in this chassis. Like I've always said, man, it point blank is a give and take on these things. It is gonna be a project getting down to this point. A lot of debris got inside, but it seems as though the grease is doing its job. The set screw, the pinion, it's got a C-clip on it. So the other real shocker, it's a 100% all metal center diff. Like metal case, metal gear, input gears, like everything is stinking metal, dude. Very surprising. Very cool. But yeah, very, very slick. This is a very heavy chunk of metal right here. This is like 50% of the weight of this truck, man. This thing is heavy, dude. It is a freaking tank. So yeah, but the debris in there though, holy debris. So yeah, you're gonna need an egg crate. I am noticing too, the screws are kind of like they got rub marks on it. Not exactly sure what the deal with that is, where it's rubbing, whether if it was like some of the grit and debris, because when you're looking at this, you can definitely see where there was some scraping going on. So it's probably the dirt kind of made some clean spots. Let me check this real quick. Oh, those are tight. Yeah, I know they're tight. I'm almost worried that these are gonna snap. Oh, dude, you definitely heat these up. Christ. I'm afraid that these screws are gonna strip out. Is it moving or is it stripping? Looks like it might have moved, but it did. You're definitely gonna want to heat these up. You're gonna have to use some kind of like a heat resistant glove too. You're definitely gonna want to heat the crap out of this to go ahead and yeah, there's grit all in there. Shielded bearing inside, which is fine. So, and that bearing is not gonna slide off until that comes off. At least I don't think. Yeah, no way. A lot of debris and grit getting into this thing. So, we're gonna have to heat this up to crack it open. But Jesus Christ, dude. Wicked heavy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,000 screws, dude, to get to this. So, gonna go ahead and pop it off. I forgot one. Are you serious? It's the other one on the side of the thing here. The other thing I noticed too is these two screws for the standoffs for the steering were super loose, like to the point of where definitely would have had to have checked these. Could have been an issue. So let's pull this little cap off, get this out of the way, and I should be able to pop these links, slide these links, and there we go. So same thing, zero debris, not zero but close enough, and the diff is sufficiently lubed. I'm gonna go ahead and just put some udder butter in there right now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and squeeze it right in there. The syringe is mint. So just like that, good enough. Put the cap back on so we don't lose anything or get any contamination in there. So there we go. Cover's back on, and I'll just tighten up the screws. Getting a storm. So anyways, motor mount's all clean. What a pain in the neck that was. A lot of debris, a lot of sand, two-part process of cleaning that out. I just used lacquer thinner. There is a cow RC stuff, but I couldn't find that. It works really good. It's like a brake clean. Cleaned out this gear. I did use this on both the pinion side bearing and the end bell bearing, this end here, or the back side, because it is open, and I did put a little bit of that lube in there. So now I've got to put the drive shaft in and then kind of like do the whole finagle thing. I did put the PB blaster in there. Dude, I don't want these screws to strip, so I am going to give it a shot just to see. My blowtorch is out front. I'm going to see if I can just kind of squeak these open just to see what it's like, and then we'll take it from there. So that is this driver here. Let's see if it was able to see. Dude, it's like no, nope, stripped out. Son of a gun, dude. They're using crappy hardware because these drivers are Hobao drivers. These things are mint. They have an exceptional bite, so you're definitely gonna need to use heat, unlike what I just did. Now make this a dry area, and I did put a drain hole, so we'll see. Is this gonna work, dude? That was a lot of crap in there, so I will spray probably a little bit of the should I? Nah, maybe not. Dry is dry, right? Get the drive shaft installed here in prep, because it's gotta go through kind of, you know what I'm saying? So this needs to be connected with this. So put that in there like that. And you want to make sure that the gear side is on that side. So lift this up, slide that into there, like that. Make sure it's in all the way. And then put the drive shaft in. And slide this like that. That's how that goes together, just like that. So I will squirt some Kawase Utter Butter in there. Oh no. See, there's still more in there. Oh, wait a minute. Cap was on. Goon. Ah, there's still more in there too. Ah. See what happens is in the syringe, there's still more in there. You gotta get it all out, guy. I guess that's it. That's empty. Good. Scrape that off into there. And I ain't gonna salvage that. Good enough. Move up the tools. Now we can place this cover back over. Just like that. And for now, just to keep everything nice and clean, I'll go ahead and reinstall this cover now. Still some crap on, dude. What am I, an idiot? So that's a little bit better. Not perfect, but good enough. So 2 long screws, one on this side. Oh my god, dude. Plastic is way too flexible. And one on this side. Good and bad. The plastic of the chassis is wicked flexible. You're going to strip just about every screw out. And that's just super careful. Yeah. Alright, so now there's that screw right there. And then this one is what connects into the motor mount. So these ones you can actually tighten. So let's give that a crank. And then same thing with this. That goes into the aluminum motor mount. Give that kind of a crank. And we're good. So, alright, so now we've got drive shaft installed. We're good to go there. Gonna put this just to get it out of the way here. This chassis is almost too flexible. That's just a negative that I'm seeing. So I'm gonna go ahead and lock all this down. Basically just requires a whole bunch of these screws. They're all the same size, which works out great. There's 2 screws here that are smaller, and those are for the sway bar for this end, so those connect onto there. So put those screws in, and then we'll see you in a bit. All the screws installed, sway bar screws, all the screws that go around. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then for the sway bar 10, 11. These 3 screws are installed. You gotta walk on eggshells working on this thing, man. It's the whole damn thing is, I mean, look at it, the whole thing is ultra flexible, which is good, but not necessarily good for fasteners, man. So we'll see how this thing holds together. Like I said, there's a ton of flexibility in this thing, which is kind of all right, but then again, we'll see, man. It's holding together, and it is going together, but yeah, guy. Front and rear shock tower with combination center brace, because obviously the center brace stripped out. What else is new? 4 screws, that's installed. Now I just got to install the shocks. What I did do also is I did go ahead and drill out the 3 positions on this. I'm going to go to the most inboard on the rear just to give a little bit more, in the rear end. I might even drop this down too, because if I drop this down, it's going to allow the shock, it's going to allow more travel. The front, I'm just going to leave alone. So, yeah, it's where I'm at right now, just connecting up the front suspension, rear suspension, and then oh yeah, I got to glue the tires too still. So I should probably see how, like, what's going on right there. That's potentially where you're having some of those blowouts. So, got to pay attention to your rims. Again, it is a very flexible tire. Surprisingly, the way the thing grips and slides, I think because the tread is the way it's designed, it allows it to slide. Do you know what I'm saying? Seeing how the lugs are? So it's almost as if it allows it to slide, but then gives it good kind of like paddle grip. Completely assembled with the exception of this. No extra screws. Well, I mean those, but that's just for that. So basically completely assembled. I do have to reroute the wiring, do the zip ties. So what I did is I moved the shock to that most inboard section and then dropped it to, technically dropped it down and kind of up in a way. So basically the entire shock has been shifted inboard, and I believe it's still at the same angle. What that's going to do is just give a little bit more to the rear end, and I can already see it. So yeah, so I just got to install this little crash, but what the hell did I do with it? Where'd it go, dude? Did I literally, oh, that little crash bar right there is going there. Zip tie, and then I already have a pack charged. These tires are marinating. The glue is curing right now, so what I did is I ran a bead around the edges where I saw, this one was the worst. And even then it wasn't that bad. But I did run a bead all the way around, and hopefully this will cure in time, because I'm more interested in running this thing than sitting here talking to this thing. Come on, guy, you know. May have gone a little bit overboard with the zip ties, but nah. So 2 zip ties there, 5 zip ties on the center brace, and of course, yes, they're done the correct way. That is the absolute correct way that you want to make sure you do your zip ties. Always and forever. That way at night, you can always find them. So, everything's tied up. I just got to connect the motor wires and put the wheels and tires on. I did fix this hex right here. Just kind of loosened it up, bumped it back in, and now it's nice and tight, or whatever. Yeah. Tires, like I said, just marinating in the sun, and this thing will be ready to rip. So you can see, I think you can see, right there, we've got a little bit of a higher rear end now. So hopefully it'll make use of more of the stroke of the shock that's on the back there. So we'll see. Shock has kind of been basically bumped in and down kind of deal. So yeah, guy, that's it. Man, what a stinking pain in the neck these things are to work on. The other thing I kind of want to say, keep in mind the flexibility of this vehicle. While it is a good thing, it's also not 100% a good thing. Like I said, man, there's always a give and take. So, yeah. Take it for what it's worth, man. Whenever a link is ready, it'll be in the description. Do I think the RC is worth it? I'm not all for the super flexible plastic deal here. I mean, it is holding together, but dude, just about every fastener I've been touching, with the exception of these, you don't know how far to take the fastener because, I mean, you're turning it and it just wants to keep turning. It's like you just feel the slightest amount of resistance and you don't know, is that when the two pieces start to sandwich? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, do you give it like an extra little tweak? So that's kind of how I treated it. I did notice too, I'm gonna have to install outer screws, otherwise, because this being super flexible, it's just gonna be a catch-all. So I'm gonna run a screw all the way through on both ends there. Like I said, man, that is part of this whole thing being ultra flexible. In the heat, I don't even know what my hair looks like, dude. Is that better? In the heat, this whole thing is gonna be a wet noodle. You just need to determine for yourself, is a wet noodle what you want for an RC? It performs, obviously. And I almost forgot. Not sure how well you can see that, but this hex moved. See those white marks? Those are stress indicators from the hex actually twisting inside here. So that's another unknown. I'm taking the rears and putting them on the fronts anyway, but yeah, I just thought I'd show you. It's the only one that's doing it. The other ones are fine. For some reason, this one though, you can see those white stress marks. So yeah, that's a negative. I think we're complete. Wheels, tires on, again, no extra screws, no extra nothing, just drill bits and zippy ties. Zippy ties cut at the appropriate angle. That's what you want. And now we're just gonna throw the body on. I'm gonna let these tires marinate just a little bit more so that I know that they're cure. That one seems a little wet, that one seems still a little wet. Oh, maybe not, maybe that's just the glisten. So, yeah, no, just maybe a little bit longer. But the MJX thing, oh, gotta hook up my oil wires. But this MJX thing is all set, I think, and ready to rip. So, we'll see you out in the track here, see the thing. Oh, just to show you. There's your gears. There's your gears right there. So hopefully that's gonna work out, man. Hopefully it's not gonna be like a catch-all. I don't think it will. Hopefully it'll like eject debris, then it will keep it in there. So it's now a dry sump system now. But again, checking all these fasteners, man, you just literally don't know how tight or loose to make them because the plastic is just too damn flexible. Positives and negatives. Obviously, see how this side is? Nice and straight. It's got even a little bump out for the wires. See this side? Just from the straps pulling in. I mean, it's great, but it's not. I think it's too flexible, man.